Welcome to the Mormon to Medium podcast, where we'll talk about spirituality, the paranormal, religion, and my journey going from Mormon to medium. I'm Nanette Ride. Thanks for listening. Now let's go have some fun.
Don't be afraid. Close your eyes. There's a moon overhead, but the sun will rise. Blood on our lips, such a poisonous bite. The sound of our hearts go bump, bump, bump in the night.
Hello and welcome. This is the Mormon to Medium podcast. I'm Brad and I'm here with Nanette.
The Mormon medium. Hi, guys.
Hello, Nanette. And today we've actually got a special guest again, Wylin.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. So Wylin has been one of my very best friends since we were in sixth grade.
Sixth grade.
We've known each other for a very long time. And this episode is actually a continuation of our conversation from episode 66. So we're going to jump right in where we left off.
I also have another shirt from the Beehive cigar that has Brigham Young with a big old cigar in his mouth. I always wear that to family functions, too.
I love it. You know what? I can see that. I guarantee he smoked cigars. We know he drank whiskey.
Yep.
He had distilleries.
There's a book about that called Beer in the Beehive. It's by the guy who started the Wasatch Brewery, I want to say. I don't know. I don't remember what his name is, but he lays that all out, tells the whole history of how Salt Lake City was built from money raised from alcohol sales.
Wow.
Okay, so then when did it go awry? Because when did it start to get so uptight about stuff?
Go awry, pun
Go awry.
intended.
I know, whiskey, right?
I was like, that was impressive,
I know,
man.
I was like,
right?
pun intended.
Intended? She ain't all blonde.
So I don't know when you guys have been up there. Have Chris and I taken you to the Whiskey Street? It's a bar downtown. When next time you guys are up there, we need to take you to Whiskey Street.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So when you go to Whiskey Street, on their menu they kind of tell the history of why there's a Whiskey Street in Salt Lake. And what had happened was there was so much alcohol, so much bars downtown Salt Lake, but Brigham Young did not want them close to Temple Square. So he said that all the bars and all those type of businesses had to be past this street. So it became Whiskey Street. So if you ever go there, the food is amazing. The drinks their bartenders are amazing. If you're in Salt Lake, go to the Whiskey Street. It's amazing. The place isn't big, so get there early. And it's an actual bar, so children cannot come in. If you don't have your ID, you will not get in.
So that means you can have a drink without having to order food.
You can go in and just to have a drink. But what I liked about there is they have the High West, which High West is is whiskey that's made in Utah. Now I've been on the tour. They claim that they're using Brigham Young's recipe to make whiskey there. They claim because he had a whiskey called Valley Tan, and it was so good that people were told that if they were traveling from New York City to San Francisco to get on the rail spur, go to Salt Lake and purchase Brigham Young's whiskey, which was called Valley Tan, and it was that well known. This is all in that book, Beer in the Beehive. Really good read. I highly recommend it. He lays it all out on how alcohol, believe it or not, shaped Utah and paid for a lot of church buildings.
That's amazing because that is so opposite of what we've heard our whole lives, right?
Absolutely.
Like you start to hear history like this and you're like, why didn't they tell us any of this ever?
Yep. There was one other point I was going to make. So people would come down and they would buy the whiskey and then they would take it back. And I guess it was just like people, they couldn't keep it in stock. People would just come in and just buy it all up. And when we were on the tour at High West, there were some youngs that worked there. And well, I mean, Utah, there's a lot of youngs in Utah, but they claimed that they used Brigham Young's, his distilling technique up there at High West, which High West is, okay, so Whiskey Advocate is like this. Like I used to read Cigar Advocate, and they rate cigars 0 to 100. Anything above 90 is just amazing. So any cigars that rate like 95, even the higher 80s are like premium cigars, and you want your rating in there. Well, Whiskey Advocate is the same thing, and High West whiskey made in a Mormon state by Utahns, rates in the 90s, hands down all the time. They're always getting 90. And who would ever thought that in the bastion of Mormonism that a whiskey is being made that rates that high. I love it. The irony is just awesome to me.
Absolutely,
It's just
it is
incredible. But another thing, another reason their whiskey is good up there is because they're able to use a technique of distilling that you can only do at a high altitude because they're at 7,500 feet, which most distilleries are at close to sea level. Like all of them in Scotland are like Islay, Glenfiddich, all those they're at sea level.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the few distilleries that is that altitude. So they're able to use a technique that no one else can use. So that's why their whiskeys are so good. And that's why cool. Because I don't know if you've been in a liquor store, but when there's the High West, they used to be like $50. Their rye and stuff, they're in the glass case now, selling for $150 plus now.
Wow.
What?
So
yeah, I remember when they started their brand. It was cheap.
Yep. It was.
You get High West for really inexpensive.
Now it's one of the higher end, which just boggles my mind. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. More power to them.
Yeah.
That next time you guys are up, we need to go on that tour. I recommend the tour.
That'd be way fun.
That would be fun.
It's one of the few where you do the tour and you just see the workers working. No, you get to go up on the catwalk with the employees while they're working. It's a hands-on. Just they said when we were there, they said they used to let people, they'd open the vats where the beer, because you make beer first and then you refine it down to make spirits. So they would lift the thing up and let people look in and smell the beer. Well, they had people that would literally come from, say, San Francisco to Salt Lake and then go to the distillery, and they would get one whiff of that and they'd get oxygen deprivation because of they're used to being at sea level.
The altitude.
That would hit them, and they had people pass out right there on the catwalk.
What?
So they will not let you do that anymore. So, but you think about it, you live at sea level, and then you're already in bad shape because Salt Lake's like 4,500 feet, and then you get up there, you're 70. I mean, it was bad news. People were.
That's crazy.
Another thing, and my dad talks about that a lot because he worked in a bar in Jackson Hole. He says the Californians would come up and have one or two drinks and just be absolutely plastered and hammered out of their minds. So he said that was pretty common up there that they couldn't. He said Californians can't hold their liquor. Well, not in Jackson Hole, at least.
Not in Jackson Hole.
It's not at altitude. They're fine otherwise.
Anyway, so
you got back from your mission.
Yep.
And then what happened?
So I guess I wasn't following the rules of the church, and I was dating a girl that decided that she was going to follow the rules of the church, and she went back to church and she told things that happened between me and her to her bishop. And so her bishop called my bishop, and then I was hauled into the bishop's office and asked the same questions. And me, not being like most Mormons and just lying to my bishop, I told them the truth, and I was removed from the church because they told me that my behavior was not in line with what the church teaches for someone who'd been to the temple and gone on a mission. And so I was kicked out of the church.
Wow.
So
did they call it a court of love?
I don't remember that. And I'm kind of dumb because I went to the court. Most people just don't show up. And I went.
What was that like?
Yeah. What is it like?
Do you mind talking about that?
Very judgy, very judgy. It's like being judged by your peers, and they're looking at your face and they're telling you that you're a crap human being because you've not followed the church and you're no longer worthy to be in our presence, essentially. I mean, if you're excommunicated, you could still go to church. You just can't participate in all the I guess the things that Mormons do, like take the sacrament, go to the temple. You're banned from all of that. Because remember the special you did on cults, that there's always a punishment and a banishment until you get yourself in good favor with the brethren of the organization, I would say. So that's pretty much how I was treated. And I was,
wow.
I mean, I did go back and get baptized, but I didn't ever become a full member again, getting the priesthood or going to the temple. I never got. So my records are on the church still, and I'm like, Brad, I'm too lazy to just take it off. So that's when I got home. But I wouldn't those friendships I made on the mission were amazing. I wouldn't change any of that. I'm glad I went, but it's still, like I said, I felt very like pushed into it, which I guess in retrospect, maybe I to them, I slowed the work down because I didn't want to be there 100%. And that was a lot in the mission that we were treated like, you don't really want to be here, so you should just go home if you don't really want to be there. And that's kind of their threat, like that they're going to send you home if you don't follow the rules.
Well, and if you go home early, there's a big stigma around that too, because you've got to return with honor, right? That's the big saying, return with honor.
So I did the full 2 years, and it's just kind of funny because something on our mission that we were told that we couldn't do, but yet we all did, because every time we had a mission conference, we would have what they called house cleaning items, and they have a list of things that the presidency and the mission wanted changed. One was that we were no longer allowed to look at our quote unquote trunky calendar. So if you've never been on a mission, being trunky means that you're looking forward to leaving. You're like an inmate and your term's about up and you're about to get released back into normal society.
So you're counting the days.
You're counting the days.
Counting the days till you can pack your trunk up and leave.
Yes. So back at the time when I was on the mission, you didn't have a Palm Pilot. There was you didn't have your phone. We just had like a Franklin planner, which was just a day book with and so it has a calendar all the years. And so our trunky calendars where we would cross the days off as we were getting close to the time when we got to go home. And so you get a bunch of elders around when the other leadership went around and they'd look at you. It was like you're going into a speakeasy and you go, "Hey, Elder Cummins." I'm like, "Yeah." Says, "You want to look at your trunky calendars with me?" So we'd get our trunky calendars out. It was like a group thing. We'd sit in a circle, and we would look at our trunky calendars, and it was always like, "Oh, well, I'll be home and dating by the time you get home from," and it's just kind of you're teasing each other. And then you'd have some dumb new missionary that comes sit down, and he's like, "Been there a month." And we're like, "You're not trunky enough to be in this circle, so go away." No, it's just funny things like that you do to pass the time away. I just remember that because my buddy Justin, who we were companions for 7 months, which is unheard of.
Is that a long time?
It was usually 2 or 3 months is a long time. Because an era we were in was being transferred into another mission, so we were together for 7 months, which is really, really, really strange. And he was over. My wife found my old planner from my mission, believe it or not. And so when Justin was at our house last month, I go, "Hey, Justin," he's in the kitchen. I pull, "Hey, you want to look at your trunky calendar with me?" He's like, "No way. I can't believe you have this."
That's awesome.
And there was a section in there where we had zone and district goals that I had written down from our meetings. He was laughing. He was like, "I cannot believe that you still have this." And it took us both back in time. It was pretty fun. But I mean, it's just, I just think it's just so funny because it's like, that's being rebellious on the mission, looking at your trunky calendar.
That's what I'm just picturing these 20-year-old kids all huddled. Up. Look how rebellious we are.
Like, we're not looking at Playboy, we're looking at our trunky calendars.
Open your Franklin for me, Wylin.
Open it wide. You know you want it. You must comply.
Do you know what, though? Here's the thing is missions, I think kids learn some good work ethic. I think they learn some excellent sales skills.
Discipline.
Good discipline. There's a lot of lessons there that are learned through the mission.
Very regimented schedule.
Yeah.
Kind of like the military. You have
right.
a uniform. I would recommend either military service or mission to any kid trying to find. I think it would give them some grounding, but I would push them more to military.
I think the military is less of a cult. That might be safer.
And like you can learn some life skills in the military too. Especially the Marine Corps. No, so that was pretty much my mission experience. But we had a few reunions and I saw some of the elders, but I really didn't stay in touch with a lot of them. I've lost, it's so long, and they're all over the country, and there's a lot of hypocrisy in the mission too, I remember. So it's just like the rest of the
What
church.
do you mean by that?
Well, like they would come up with rules. Like one of the house cleaning items was they didn't want you to tease other missionaries about where they were from. So like if you're from Utah, the elders from other parts of the world would tease you because you're from Utah. And so the assistant to the president that got up and said this, he's from Canada. So he's reading these rules and he says, yeah, so the last house cleaning item we have is no more chiding or teasing other elders about where they're from. And then he throws on, even if you're from Utah. So he's telling us the rules to follow and he's breaking it right there in front of us. So I'm probably one of the few Mormons that actually was rebuked by a person who is in the quorum of the 12 now.
Oh,
Whoa.
let's hear this.
I was personally rebuked by Henry B. Eyring because he was so on the mission. I almost forgot about this. This just popped in my head. So on the mission, you have these multi-zone conferences, and they're usually around Christmas time. So that's like you'll have 3 or 4 zones together, and there's a member of the quorum of the 70, not the quorum of the 70, but the 70s that are over certain mission areas. Well, ours at the time happened to be Henry B. Eyring. So he showed up and he was the speaker there. So it was my last conference before I went home. So the tradition in the mission was that every elder, if you're leaving the mission, the next transfer at this multi-zone conference, you have to get up and bear your testimony. Meaning, if I don't know if you can give some background on that.
Yeah, you give some background.
Yeah. So meaning you get up and you tell everyone how much you've learned on your mission and how you know the church is true and you know that Joseph Smith is a prophet. And so you get up and then you bear your testimony in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. So
I love his cadence there.
Right?
It's just like it's like the testimony.
Everyone's got the kids. I love my mom and dad.
It's from Past and Testimony meeting, the most uncomfortable meeting in the Mormon Church. Everyone that's listening knows it's the worst. I hate it. It's that was the worst. But so I had to get up and do that, and I made the offhand comment that I was. How did I say it? I says I was sad that my missionary service was coming to an end and that I was no longer going to be a missionary because my mission was going to be over in a month, right?
Yeah.
So they had us do this before Elder Eyring got up and gave his closing remarks. First thing he says when he gets up there and he goes, Elder Cummins, he says, I want you to know that you are never not going to be a missionary and your mission is not ending. And when you get off your mission, you need to continue to be a mission and get people in the church. Just totally rebukes me.
Whoa.
For 5 minutes, I got rebuked and everyone teased the shit out of me that you got rebuked by a prophet. You got rebuked by, it's like right to my, like called my name out and everything. Like he remembered my name when he got up there.
Dang.
So, but I mean, we did have a program. My name was, maybe he just took a look at, that was that rebellious Elder Cummins. I'm going to give him the shit when I get up there. So full on got rebuked by, and now it's just crazy to me because not only is he's in the quorum of the 12, but he's like a first counselor of the prophet in the church. Like, he's like high up there.
Is.
Yeah.
And
he's like in the progression to be the prophet here
and
soon.
He sat, when we had lunch, he sat right next to me when we were eating lunch because for some reason he came out and sat at our table and we talked to him. He seemed really nice and cool until he got up there and was such a total dick to me. So yeah, I got totally rebuked. So yeah, I've been abused by the church quite a bit. So
every member a missionary.
Yes. And I made some, I mean, I was nervous. I was up there in front of everyone, all the other elders that you're still like, there's this high school fraternity type of feel there. And you still judge each other. You tease each other because you're a bunch of guys and I was nervous and I just made that comment. I didn't even think twice about it. Man, he got up there and told me that I was never not, I mean, it was, and he went on and on and on. I was like, dang, I felt about this big. I was ready to walk out there and find a bus and go home right at that moment.
Like, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here for that crap. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's not okay.
Yeah, so I'd almost forgotten about that over the years. So.
That's a great story, though.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
And he always looks so grandfatherly, like, oh, he's got a big smile. He's probably so nice.
And he wears those round glasses. He looks like, to me, he looks like Oppenheimer, the guy that invented the nuclear bomb, but just a taller version.
Okay. I could see that.
He cries a lot.
Yeah. He's become death, the destroyer of worlds. So, no, but that was,
I don't know. I kind of think of him as like Dana Carvey when he's in Master of Disguise. Am I not turtly enough for you?
That's awesome. That's perfect. Yeah.
Right? The head, the glasses. Yeah, you see it now, don't you?
I warned you all.
You see it though.
So yeah, that's how my mission ended. So on a high note, but my parents drove down and got me. So they drove down and then we spent a few weeks visiting some friends of ours down there. And that was a good time. That was one of the times I remember hanging out with my family. It was a lot of fun.
I love that.
It was a lot of fun. And it was kind of cool because the friends that we were coming down to stay, the friend of my dad's wife, she worked at a realtor's office that was in my area. And so when we'd be out riding bikes and doing things, I'd stop in and say, hey, mission's almost over. I guess we're coming to stay with you after. She was so excited we'd come in and visit her. But it was just kind of strange that it was, small world down there.
Right.
So, yeah. But it was, that's pretty much my mission.
Now, riding bikes in the mission almost killed you, though.
Oh, yeah. I've forgotten about that. Yeah. So when I went on my mission, the church had just employed this policy where anyone riding a bike had to wear a helmet. So not only are we wearing a suit and tie, riding a bike in 115-degree weather in Riverside, California.
Oh my gosh.
And it's an urban heat. And I don't know if you've never been to Riverside in the summer. I don't even know how to explain to you what the hell that is. It's hot. It is. They should have built Riverside on the sun. I mean, all the way out to the desert. That type of heat. I'm sure you get a little bit of that here in St. George, probably Vegas. But being in that, then the church is now, you have to wear a helmet too. So we're at the time, not like now everyone wears a bike helmet. At the time, nobody was wearing bike helmets. So we stuck out even more. And so they were always like, I used to leave my helmet on the thing and not put it on, but we had to have it with us. So we had a new district leader. And so he's like, you have to wear your helmet, Elder Cummins. And so we were out biking and we were going to an appointment, and I don't know what happened. I was the last one across the street, and apparently someone hit me, and I went over the handlebars, landed completely on my head. And thank goodness I had my helmet on, because I would probably be a total vegetable today, because I hit my head, knocked me out.
What?
I didn't know they said it was like a good 30 minutes before I even knew where I was, what my name was. I was conscious, but I couldn't remember anything. I just remember laying there looking at the sky and thinking, man, why is my back so hot? Because I'm laying on 120-degree asphalt in Riverside, California in like August. And and they when they took me to the hospital, the neurosurgeon that was on call, he had to come in because they did a CAT scan, and they said I had an artifact or something, that blood was pooling in the back of my brain, and that's why I kept losing consciousness. And they were going to have to come in and start drilling holes in my head. Like, that's the last thing I need is more holes in my head. And the neurosurgeon on call got to the hospital, and they go, he's not displaying the symptoms you said he was anymore, because he came in and kept talking to me. And he goes, I want another CAT scan. And they went in, and gone. There was no artifact, no blood, nothing on the CAT scan.
But you had one earlier that showed it.
Earlier that day that showed, because I kept having these weird symptoms, like I'd lose consciousness and I'd throw up again. And he goes, are you sure this is the same patient? Because when he compared the two, he was like, this can't be the same patient, because there's nothing here now. And they watched me for another like 10, 12 hours, and then they sent me on my way.
Okay, I'm just going to throw this out. Was there a priesthood blessing that happened?
Oh, yes, there was a priesthood blessing, of course.
So did that become a testimony builder for you?
I guess it could be a testimony builder. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, everyone is protected by our spirit teams, right?
That's right.
Maybe someone was, my team was there looking out for me, but they were literally getting ready to start drilling holes in my head for that. And the neurosurgeon was just like, he's like, no, he's not showing these symptoms. Something's wrong. And he said, nope, get him in the machine one more time. Want to look one more time before we do this. So pretty crazy.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah. And it was funny because when I guess I was on the ground, I was behind the other elders. They didn't realize what happened. Then they came back, and in Riverside County at the time, they had this born again church that was a holy roller. They had a rock band on Sunday, probably a church that would be fun to go to. Yeah.
Like Sam Kinnison's church.
Yeah, exactly. But they were extremely anti-Mormon. So they would throw beer bottles at us, and they would call us names. And so
they were Christ-like.
So someone thought that I'd been hit by one of these people,
beer bottle.
That it was a total blatant thing, and I don't know if it was an accident. No one ever stopped. No one stopped. They said some really big burly guy was there, and he was yelling. Everyone, who ran over this guy? He says he might be a Mormon, but he didn't deserve this. It was, and then another thing too is when you have a head injury. This is really awesome. Your personality changes, right? So they said that I was just cussing and swearing in there. I'm like, Elder Thomas, did you push me off my fucking bike? I'm gonna kick your fucking ass. ass. They said I was just F-bombed this.
Wait a minute. So it was
F-bombed that.
like high school.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I reverted back to high school. Yes. They said I was. And so some doctor in there, I don't remember seeing a lot because my vision kept going blurry. It was really weird. And then I was strapped to a board and I kept throwing up, and they'd have to get a bunch of techs to lift me up on the board so I could puke to the side. So, wow. And so all of a sudden I hear this voice, and this guy goes, "Hey, I'm such and such doctor from down the hall, and I'm a bishop in the such and such ward, and you're a member of the church, and you shouldn't be talking like that, and you shouldn't be swearing." And my companion was there, the elder that I was with, and he said that I paused for not even a second, and I said, "Shut the fuck up and leave me alone. Can you not see the state that I am in?" I said, "I don't give a fuck if you are a bishop." It says, "Get the fuck out of this room." And they said, I just went off on the guy. It was F. And then they said it took about 30, 40 minutes before I finally calmed down. But they said, I just went. I don't remember any of this, but my companion came over, and you wear the name tags.
Yeah.
He said he takes the name tag off, put it in his pocket. He's like, he's not with us. But apparently, from what I learned from other doctors in the area, that's not uncommon for a head injury for someone to just completely freak out like that.
Except for he told you what to do, and you just told us that you hate being told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
He broke the carnal rule. Don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me.
Oh, just like that guy at the Wilkinson Center.
Oh yes, the good old Wilkinson Center incident. You know, when I worked at construction up there, I couldn't walk through that lobby and just think of you. Oh yeah, one of Brad's 14-year-old. Well, it might have been 15. So now we were old enough to drive.
We were old enough to drive
somehow.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't have been left alone at BYU.
No.
The problem.
No. We initially went to go bowling, but we got kicked out.
Of course you did.
You can't swear on the BYU campus.
Yeah. And
Did you know that?
This is when I really learned Brad's lack of respect for authority. It was on full display that day. Yeah, good stuff.
Oh no, keep up with the story. I don't know the story. Come on.
Oh, are we going to go into it?
Spill your beans.
Do you want Brad to tell it, or you do want me to say it? Okay.
You tell it, because he'll leave some parts out.
So we're there. I think I was with your first wife. Natalie was with us, and I think Lori was there, her friend, and we just started dating. And we were going over there to go bowling, and I made some comment about, I swore. And Brad goes, "You can't fucking swear over here. You can't say that." And some guy just out of the blue goes, "That's right, you can't swear in here." He says, "I'm going to call security and have you kicked out of here." And Brad does about 2 steps, turns right around, does the full Eddie Murphy, "Suck my dick." Suck it. And he had a cast because he broke his hand. So Brad has one hand in a cast, and he points at his down here. He goes, "Suck my motherfucking dick," right there. That guy went from 0 to, like, I thought he was physically gonna do something to Brad. You should have heard the gasps of all the old ladies. Like, there were some elderly ladies, and then they just gasped like they had never heard anyone say something like that in their life.
I have to interject. Brad it does not have the proudest face on right now. He's not even embarrassed. He's just like, shit, I said that.
We watched a lot of Eddie Murphy stand up.
Was that from Delirious or was it from Raw? I don't remember, because everybody's like, "Suck my dick."
They blend. Suck my motherfucking dick. Yep.
That was our upbringing. The Mormon kids watching inappropriate videos that their parents don't know they're watching, because you didn't have to have an ID to rent stuff like that back in the day. You could leave Blockbuster.
Yeah, now they don't even have to rent them. They just
it's piped right into their phone.
Yep,
so.
it's right there. It's right there.
We had to do the work back in the day. We had to physically get on our bicycles and go rent the movies, and then have someone distract or have a fake note saying, "Oh yeah, my mom says it's okay that we can rent rated R movies.
Yeah, we can get this. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. No, it's for my mom. It's for my parents. They
like,
want us to rent this.
They just got used to us
Oh
at
my
the store.
gosh.
They didn't care anymore. It's
No, so that's what happened at BYU. It was epic, and if I hadn't been there, I wouldn't have believed it. But he just stopped, and it was funnier because you had your hand in a cast. Because Brad, he's so zen and so just easygoing now. But back in the day, Brad had a temper, it was his first game playing. Were you starting that year on the football team?
Yeah, varsity. Yeah,
varsity.
senior
Yeah,
year.
and were we seniors or were we?
We were seniors. Yep.
They lost the game. Was it homecoming? I think it was a homecoming.
It wasn't even homecoming. It was the very first home game.
Brad got so mad that when he was walking into the locker room, we had these big heavy metal doors, and he just full on punches it, broke his hand.
Yep. that not one of my proudest moments. I knew it was broken the second I hit it.
I just remember you came out and said, "Where's Coach Staley?" And I go, "Why?" So I broke my fucking hand, and his hand was broke. These two muscles were broken, and it was on a 45-degree angle. It was so broken.
Very broken.
Very broken.
Why were you such a hothead?
I had a lot of testosterone. I don't know.
He's so zen now. It's so weird. It's like a new Brad.
Right?
He's so just totally just this guru type. He's the guru.
Wow. I like that.
He's so, but I mean, you're a teenager, so, but I don't know. I wouldn't change any stuff we did growing up. I wouldn't have changed any of that. That was so much fun.
We had a lot of fun.
Such a great time to be alive and be teenagers. It was awesome.
Right. Remember when I rolled your four-wheeler down the hill in Woodland Hills?
Oh my god.
Rolled right over top of Wilson Rosa.
Yeah.
Squished that poor kid.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Did you hurt him?
Probably.
Hey,
he squealed.
What do you mean? Probably. You don't know?
Well, he
I
acted
just think you were lucky you had a nice soft Wilson to land on.
Exactly. Well, because he was riding behind me, so we're going up the hill, and I tried to shift down.
Yeah, he wasn't in the right gear,
and it just went up and over, and the four-wheeler came down right on top of us. I landed on Wilson, and then was able to kick the four-wheeler up and over us with my legs, so it didn't squish us bad.
It could have killed you.
Yeah. Fortunately, they were smaller four-wheelers.
Yes, they weren't the big like they make now. They were they were Yamaha 200 DX. They weren't super heavy.
But it rolled all the way down the hill, and Wylin lost his shit. My dad's gonna kill me.
And then my dad's so cool because he gets there. We're thinking, my dad's on his way up. We're so dead.
Well, we spent hours. Remember,
tried to fix it. Tried
LD
to cover
got
it up,
the forklift, and we're lifting it up on the forklift and bouncing it to bend the
handlebars back.
Yeah,
like he wasn't going to notice that there's 3 fenders ripped off of it.
And his dad's like, "Oh, that's why we have insurance."
Didn't even care. He's like, "Oh,
so
we'll get
cool.
it fixed." He was just so cool. He's like, "Yeah, it's just these are insured. It's okay. We'll get them fixed."
Yeah, it was like, "Oh my god, thank you."
Yeah,
I felt
Brad
so
and I
bad.
hugged each other. We were like, "Oh yeah," because we thought we're going to be working all summer for my parents trying to fix this machine.
Yeah, his dad was such a good example. Seriously, such a good father figure.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of four-wheelers, do you remember when LD was trying to pole start his and he ripped off the fender and he just lost his shit?
So LD's he's the quintessential member of the church, didn't swear. He was always, "Hey guys, watch the language. Let's not swear."
That's
never
creepy,
swore.
guys. That's creepy.
We would be off color, get sexual, whatever, and he would be, "Hey, that's, we need to remember that we're priesthood holders and that we're, we're and so
he was a good kid. He he did everything right.
That was the first time I heard the F word come out of his mouth. He was so mad for a good 5 minutes. He was kicking stuff. We saw this side of LD that was just, he ripped that fender right off the side of that thing, and he was so mad. He went from just being the calmest, coolest, just good kid to foul-mouthed truck driver, longshoreman.
We all just kind of backed off and didn't say anything because he was scary.
He's a big guy.
He is.
Yes.
Even then, he was 6'4", 200 pounds.
Dang.
He was a big kid even then. So, yeah, we're like, okay, let's just see what happens here.
That's great.
Oh my gosh. We had so much fun though. We had a really, really good group of friends. We were very, very fortunate.
Do you remember, now tell me the parents would do this now. Do you remember that our parents would take us up Diamond Fork a good, 30 miles from where we lived in the mountains?
Yep.
We weren't old enough I think we were 14 then, not old enough to drive. And they drove us up to this canyon with a little creek through it with a nice little spot to set up some tents and stuff. And they left us there all week.
During the summer. Yeah. We had a great time.
Cool. We had a great time. But I'm like, can you imagine parents don't do that now?
No.
They don't take their kids up and
Well,
just
the
let
kids
them.
would disappear.
Well, they wouldn't have
Human
night lights.
trafficking now.
They wouldn't know how to build a fire. They wouldn't know what to do. They'd
Nope.
sit there and freeze to death. But we literally, and they, like, I think Ryan's mom came and got him because he had baseball. But other than that, and then
Yeah.
she would come back. Our parents would just bring us food. You know, like, oh, did you guys,
That's
we brought some
awesome.
food up. And then we literally, that whole week, we were up there. And then we did it 2 summers in a row.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was great. We had our little ghetto blaster.
Yep, that's right.
Until the huge D batteries wore out in that thing. But we would
Remember chasing the cows out of the camp in the morning with the
Van
radio?
Halen.
Yep.
with Van Halen blasting, and we chased the cows out of
Okay,
our
I can
hand.
picture that right now.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally.
It's awesome.
Yeah, can you believe that we did? It was so much fun. We'd go down to play in the river. We did just anything. We just literally like Lord of the Flies up there.
Yep. We rolled rocks down the cliff onto the road.
Yep.
Not even thinking, hey, a car might hit that.
No, that was fun. I remember that was one of those times I think that our friendship was forged with Ryan and us because that was a lot. That was a really good time. We built fire. We didn't burn the whole forest down,
Right?
Well,
Because we were smart. We built a fire ring. We made them just the right size.
Mhm. We put rocks around it because we were good Boy Scouts. We knew how to build a fire. Now people are so stupid they don't even let you build a fire up there.
Exactly.
So yeah, they're missing out.
We cut down a little tree that was near us and used it for firewood and
Yep.
carved the stump into a giant penis.
We did. I wasn't sure if you were going to bring that up, but it was a really nice representation of a penis.
I can only imagine the people who camped there after us.
The sad thing is that we didn't have cameras and phones that we could have taken pictures of a lot of this stuff.
No,
'Cause
it's a good thing
it
we didn't have
probably
cameras
is.
and phones. There's a lot of evidence out there that didn't need to be.
I wonder if we could ever go up there and
cameras.
find that camp spot again.
I don't know.
That's changed so much up there. I wonder, because that was my mom still talks about that she just take you kids up there and just left us.
It was probably the best week of their lives.
It probably
all summer.
was.
They were like, God, can we please get rid of these kids? I can't hear them giggle all day long in the basement anymore.
It's like all those memes that they talk about how Gen Xers drank out of the hose. And one of my favorite explanations as to why Gen Xers drink out of the hose, it was because we weren't allowed in the house.
We got locked out.
So we had survival was drinking out of the hose.
Go outside and play.
Yep.
And we did. And do you remember when we lit the tennis balls on fire with the gasoline?
Gosh, yes.
Okay, so we learned this cool trick that if you dip a tennis ball in gasoline and then you can light it in fire and like throw it down the road and it leaves this trail of fire all the way down the road.
And it was
Do not try this in real life.
Yeah, the disclaimer, do not do this. It's dangerous.
this was all fun and games until the tennis ball rolled underneath the back of my dad's car back in the days when the gas tanks were underneath the trunk. You'd never seen a bunch of kids run so fast to get that flaming tennis ball out from underneath the car.
Well, and then we were shamed for playing with the fiery tennis balls when LD's mom came.
She told us all that we were sexually frustrated young men, and that's why we were playing with fire. I'm not saying she wasn't right.
She was not wrong. I mean, we were prepubescent kids, but
Yes, she did shame us like a good Mormon mother that she was. We were shamed. And then remember LD when I was just, hey, we'd go, hey, let's light tennis balls on fire again. And LD goes, no, I don't want to be sexually frustrated.
He seriously, he just every tenant, he was like, no, I'm
following the rules. He was a good kid. He was,
The pressure.
Boy, I remember crying when he left on his mission. I'm like, wow. He's like the last friend to go.
Was he the last one?
I think he was. I think he was about the last one to go.
Yeah. That was, I was long gone by then.
And I'm like, I can't even go on a mission.
Nope.
I've got a kid.
You know how they say to you, you remember when something happened, like you always remember where you were when 9/11 happened. My mom and her generation was there, always knew where they were when John F. Kennedy got killed. Mm-hmm. I still remember to this day where I was when Brad came up to me and said, "Oh, hey, Wylin, by the way, Natalie's pregnant."
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. It was on the driveway of my parents' house down by the post office, where the post office is now. I remember we were standing outside and you're like, "Yep, Natalie's pregnant."
And you're like, "Yeah, I saw that coming." So did she.
I love it. I love it. This is punny, Brad.
That was punny. Thank you.
No, but Brad did the right thing. He was very honorable. Natalie, she got her degree a year early, and they were the last two to walk across the street. It was Brad and Natalie Zeman, and everyone cheered for him when they came across the stage. It was pretty cool. Yep. Yeah, Brad was a good guy. He took care of business when the cards were down. He took care of business, did what he had to do. Good guy.
Do you know what? I've got a great kid because of it.
Yep, you do. Tyler's a good kid.
Tyler's amazing.
It's weird how much you guys are alike. Like literally for Easter, they were here, and out of the corner of my eye, I would mix the two of them up because they're both bald. Yeah. They both have beards. They're both about the same height. Like, and their voices sound the same. So it's like, shit, what was Brad wearing? Like, I have to remember who he's wearing so I know which one I'm going to turn around and talk to. Because, you know, if I start talking to Tyler like I would Brad, then Tyler's going to be like, what?
Well, when we saw Tyler at the memorial for Corey, I saw Tyler. Oh, I think that's Brad. And Christian's like, no, Brad's over there. I says, are you sure? I'm like, oh yeah, because Brad had your grandson on your shoulders. Right. Oh, that's. I thought that was Tyler. So
it's crazy, right?
It is crazy.
Tyler's Brad's mini me for sure. It's awesome.
Tyler's a lot like Brad. He's really funny. I just have a funny story to tell about Tyler, and I think Brad knows where this is going. This is the best. So. I have a little brother that's about 8 years younger than I am. And my parents would go out of town for the Utah Valley Children's Choir with my other siblings. And so they would leave me home to take care of my little brother, even though we were like 17. Is that how old? When about 17, 18, around there. And so I kept telling Richard, it says, it's late. You need to go to bed. And he wouldn't go to bed. So like 10 minutes later, Richard's like, Richard, go to bed. And he couldn't go to bed. And finally, I'm like, Richard, go to bed. He says, I can't. Brad and Natalie are in my bed.
No.
So we were riding out to
Brad.
So the story gets better. So we were riding out to my parents' cabin, and we were taking some stuff out there. And Tyler was in the back. I was sitting next to Tyler, and my little brother was driving, and I was next to my brother. And I tell this story, and it's just like silence. We're all just kind of chuckling. And then Tyler pipes up and goes, and 9 months later, I was born. I was just like, that comedy timing couldn't have been better. It was amazing. I was just like, yeah, that's Brad's kid. He's got Brad's genes, because it was just perfectly timed. Because there was like this awkward pause, like we laughed, ha ha ha, because and then Tyler just out of the blue goes, and 9 months later, I was born. It was just perfect. It was so awesome.
Brad, you're blushing, honey.
Am I? Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I think it's just warm in here.
I think you have to be careful about who you invite in here to these podcast sessions.
Nan's like, I'm learning a lot about you. Wait till you see the videos that we used to make.
Oh, by the way, I think I located those. I don't know. I don't have a VCR though, so
we've got one.
Oh no, you kept your VCR. Those are worth a lot of money now. You ever tried to buy a VCR?
Are they really?
They're like almost $1,000.
What? Are you shitting me?
If you want a new one, if you can even find them,
wow.
They're like way expensive. So all those old VCRs you sent to the thrift stores, should have hung on to them.
Damn.
But the tapes degrade, so I might have to get them out, and maybe I should have transferred them to digital years ago, because some of them are pretty funny, and some of them have Ryan in them, which is going to be hard to watch. We might have to have a Ryan reel.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think that'll be good times. We're definitely going to have to watch those.
Oh my gosh. You're going to find out just what a bunch of degenerate children we were, who shouldn't have been granted access to a video camera.
Do you know what? I think we missed our callings. We should have gone into film, because we were good. We had some great ideas. We had a lot of fun.
We were good, but nothing compared to Brad's acting skills. That was the gold. That was the gold.
No, we just had fun all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Wylin, thank you so much for coming in here and visiting.
Thank you. I'm honored that you invited me in to share this time with you guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I know we just kind of rambled and talked about everything, Nan. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You called it at the beginning, though.
I did. I warned.
No, but this is awesome. This is great to share this time with y'all. Thank you.
Thank you
again.
so much. And thank you everyone for listening. If you want to book a session with Nan, you can do that on her calendar. There's a link in the show notes. You can also check out our new awesome website. I'm also going to make sure there's a link for that in the show notes. So please take a look at that and make sure to hit that like button and subscribe and give us a little bit of love on the reviews.
We hope you have a wonderful week and know that we appreciate everything that you do for us. And keep your heads up, stay positive, know everything's going to be okay. And we'll see you
on the other side of the veil.